Days ago that the world closed another chapter of Olympic memories. Memories full of joy and triumph, full of pain and heartache. Salt Lake was a time of camaraderie and pride, and of magical dreams that would come true in an instant. Now there's a new set of dreamers who look to Athens. Tasha Schweikert hopes that Athens is her time. Too young to hold the spotlight in Sydney, she now is America's best female gymnast. An American Cup is her chance to prove it. Shawn Townsend and Paul Hamm were also afterthoughts in Sydney. Youth and inexperience led to struggle. But now they're the leaders of a new wave of American men looking to regain prominence. While some were too young to shine, Sydney was Alexei Nemov's time. But 6 medals have only left him wanting more. And now he looks to prove he can still compete. The road to Athens is paved by perseverance and hard work. Another step is taken today at the 2002 American Cup. From the TD Waterhouse Center in Orlando, Florida, NBC Sports presents the Visa American Cup. For many of the world's elite gymnasts, the first step toward Athens. And today, young U.S. stars meet the world's best. A total of $70,000 up for grabs. And the 16 athletes here, between them, have earned over 40 Olympic and World Championship medals. Tom Hammond, Elfie Schlegel, Tim Daggert, and Beth Ruyak. And the competition underway. These are the women's standings after they have completed the first of their 4 rotations. Oksana Chushevitna is the leader with American Yim in second place. And the men are halfway through their competition. Jordan Yochev of Bulgaria is the leader, with Paul Hamm of the United States in second place. And a couple of the big names, Shawn Townsend in 5th and Nemov in 7th, struggled here so far.
And Paul Hamm is actually very prepared for this competition. Got a little bit beat up earlier in the year, but somehow found his way onto the world team and helped lead that Team USA to the first ever silver medal at the World Championships.
And Tim, he had said he's psyched to be here. He actually came in saying, I want to win this competition.
Shawn Townsend's had some problems so far as Hamm takes a practice vault. They're still trying to get the vault exactly squared away here. What about Shawn?
Well, his World Championships, he told me, were like a roller coaster. It started out with the win of the silver medal, and then he was actually leading the all-around championships. Going into the last event, fell off the bar 2 times and dropped all the way down to 8th. Then he came back. After that, won the gold medal on the parallel bar. So he is world champion first time, and actually started off not too great here. A little bit of a stumble on floor exercise, and really has taken himself out of this Visa American Cup.
And first up, we will see Hiroyuki Tomita of Japan on the vault.
He is such a nice gymnast. What I like most about him, so calm, doesn't get flustered at all. A lot of gymnasts, when critical times, they tighten up, they make adjustments too quickly. This guy is about as cool as they come.
And you know, he really has no pressure on him in this competition. He has probably the least amount of experience of any of the male gymnasts here. He actually said he's going to use this as a stepping stone for future events down the road, including World Championships in 2003.
But he is darn good. He is the current Japanese all-around champion. He dethroned Sukahara, the great gymnast, son of the legend in the sport of gymnastics.
How dare he?
Tabitha Yim will be next on the uneven bars as we alternate between men and women.
Here we go. This will be a double twisting Sukahara. Very nice ball. And remember what I said is he's so calm. He just takes his time, holds on to that landing, just the smallest little hop. I like this guy.
Now on the uneven bars, Tabitha Yim of the United States, who wants to be not only an elite gymnast, but an elite figure skater as well. She's a junior at Northwood High School in Irvine, California.
And this is Tabitha's first competition of the year, the first event since last year's World Championships. You know, she said she is so excited.
No.
Big mistake there.
Little bit short on that handstand. And she fell the wrong way, and she looks a little bit lost.
This is one of her weakest events. Her coach, Beth Rybecki, said she was a little bit frazzled in practice. Another big break.
Another mistake. Here's her release skill. No problem there. We talked about some of the successes of the U.S. men's team. Well, this young lady helped that team, the U.S. women's team, to a bronze medal at the recent World Championships, but that is not the way Coach Beth Rybecki wanted her student to start.
Tabitha had been in second place after the vault before that uneven bars routine where she struggled.
I tell you, sometimes these athletes make it look too darn easy. This is amazing level of difficulty.
To meet his score on vault, 9.25. And next up, Alexander Berish of Ukraine on vault.
He's actually a little bit beat up. His shoulder's bothering him. He scratched from one of the earlier events, the still rings. And I haven't seen him put this vault to his feet.
Yeah, we were watching practices.
Yep,
it just hasn't happened for him here.
3 times around. Yeah. You know, that's just it's too hard to expect it to make that many times around if it hasn't been going well, and it has not been going well for him here in Orlando. Basically doesn't get his body over his head fast enough. His legs don't come up, and it's all about rotation. You got to get 3 times around, and he's, I don't know, 2 7/8, somewhere around there, and that means you sit down, and that means 5/10 off.
We'll have his score for you in a moment. Now back to the ladies on the uneven bars. And what about Tabitha Yim?
Yeah, you know, she really has been quite unaffected as well, but just the nerves look like maybe they got to her a little bit. And I tell you, when your back is up against the wall and when you make a mistake like that, your mind, it's got to go into hyperdrive, and you just have to be able to make an adjustment, and
quickly.
It very instantaneously, and that really didn't happen.
That was not the correct score that just flashed up there. We do not have the correct score yet because they're having problems with the scoring system. So that score that just flashed up there briefly, the actual correct score is 8.15 for Yim. 8.15. She has a schedule that would make you wilt just to think about it, starting at 4:30 a.m. when she goes to figure skating practice, then to classes, then gymnastics practice for 4 or 5 hours.
Her coach, Stephen, Beth Rybecki, said they just don't know how she keeps up with that schedule. They've actually never watched her in a figure skating competition before.
It's about 50,000 miles on the car just going to and from practice every year. Now Verona van der Leur of the Netherlands.
I think many people will be surprised to see this young lady and the great success that this country has had. Most recently at the World Championships, they've had a rapid rise to the top of the world podium.
And beautiful Stalter work, super extended body.
Reminds me a little bit of Svetlana Horkina. She's been one of the more consistent athletes.
Oh,
wow.
And that,
just as I say it.
Golly, that's too bad, because that was really a beautiful routine. I have been so impressed by this young lady. The difficulty. Watch this.
Difficult dismount.
Two twists.
That's a shame.
Verona van der Loer of the Netherlands.
This is a Stalter on the low bar. She does a Higgins turn, and her legs just come out of that position. If you're not balanced exactly right, then the forces just yank your legs out, and that's what happened.
Alexander Barish on vault, got an 8.9. And next up will be Paul Hamm of the United States.
And he has done a great job today. Not really going to have any problems here. This is actually quite an easy vault for Paul. Same one that we saw from Hiroyuki Tomita, double twisting Sukahara.
Beautiful.
Easy.
Wow.
And remember, the men only get one shot at this.
Yeah, Elfie said easy. He made it look easy. That's not easy.
Oh, good one.
So we're underway at the American Cup in Orlando. Welcome back to the Visa American Cup Gymnastics in Orlando. And let's check in with Beth Ruyak. Beth?
I want to tell you a story here. 5 years ago, the Brazilian gymnastics team was on a bus on the way to competition. 6 members of the team, 2 coaches, and some other civilians from the town. A driver in a truck in an oncoming lane fell asleep at the wheel and hit the bus head on. 6 passengers, the civilians, were killed. A number of the gymnasts were injured. The coach, Georgette Vidor, suffered a spinal injury. She was paralyzed from the waist down. One of her gymnasts continued competing. She is Daniele Hippolito, who is competing here today. She has continued with her gymnastics training under Georgette. However, when she came to the American Cup, she came with a different coach. Georgette decided not to make the trip. So she came with Ricardo Pereira, who was supposed to be on the bus that day and didn't because his girlfriend talked him out of it. Now, there was a surprise waiting for the Brazilian gymnast Daniele last night after she finished practice. Back at the hotel, Georgette had decided to fly in and surprise Daniele. And Daniele, when she showed up, had that typical, I think, teenage look of surprise on her face. And it was a very nice reunion for them. They are both very big stars back in Brazil. Daniele, because she has continued and just won the first World Championship medal for Brazil in gymnastics ever. She competed in Sydney, and she's aiming for her next Olympics. Georgette today is here watching her in the stands. The two say they feel good when they're together. Back to you, Tom.
All right, Beth, and Daniele will be on the uneven bar. She's a 5-time Brazilian national champion, and as Beth said, won the first ever World Championship medal for Brazil when she took a silver in the floor exercise, her favorite event. Lives in Rio, born in Sao Paulo.
When we're talking about surprises, she was 4th in the all-around in Ghent. Nobody would have suspected that. The 2 powers, the Netherlands and Brazil, emerged from those World Championships with just incredible results.
Especially when you see that Daniele's results back at the '99 World Championships. She was 27th in the all-around.
And then was 20th in the Olympics, and then comes up to be 4th at the World Championships. It was one of the shocks of the entire competition.
And Tom, her coach here, Ricardo, says there's newfound confidence. She believes she can be at the top now with all the world best. She has that world medal. She's now gunning for an Olympic medal in 2004.
And we have seen a little bit of balance checks throughout the uneven bar competition.
3 out of the 4 athletes so far have fallen.
If there's an event that they point to on the women's side, and a lot of people don't like the new rules, they say that it is too hard on even bars, very difficult to get a big start value. What ends up happening is the gymnasts don't have that start value. They push themselves. They do maybe a little bit more than they're capable of doing at that time, and sometimes you have a mistake.
And remember, we're just the second year into this new code of points for many of the athletes. It's still trial and error. They're still working on routines. It's not unusual for them to still be selecting elements that will carry them through the next 2 years towards 2004. And that's our coach, Georgette Vidor.
And we'll have Daniele's score in a moment, but let's check in with Sean Townsend with his vault. Sean, the U.S. national champion and world champion on parallel bars. Here's his vault.
And he will do the same vault that we saw Baresh do. Handspring, 2.5 front, 3 times around.
Nice looking.
I'll tell you. Good job. Been doing that bad boy for a long time, but that's
nice ball.
Big.
Nice ball.
I agree, big time.
All right, we'll have Ippolito's score on the uneven bars and Sean Townsend's vault score when we return to the Visa American Cup.
Check the trash can.
Visa American Cup Gymnastics continues, and next up we'll see the men's leader, Jordan Yovchev of Bulgaria, on vault.
And he just had a huge World Championships, brought home 2 gold medals. He is so built for this sport. The current rules, he's so strong. I mean, he is out of this world strong. He can power his way through just about anything.
But Tim, he'll be quick to tell you that this is his least favorite apparatus.
Same vault that we saw from Paul Ham. I couldn't tell you what he was going to do before he ran down there because I asked him, what are you doing? And he says, I make my decision when I raise my hand. No, on vaulting, I make my decision when I hit the board.
Yeah, not to mention that every practice that we watched him in during the week, it's really, literally a 20-minute workout. That's it.
That was the Ippolito score on the uneven bars and Sean Townsend's vault a few moments ago, a 9.525. And next up, the U.S. champion Tasha Schweikert on the uneven bars.
Actually, back in January, Tasha had a little bit of a tailbone injury. She said it was from wear and tear, couldn't really define where it happened and how it happened. Sort of has limited her practice time, but she has been getting stronger throughout the week.
And this is a new routine. Her coach told me she has done it. Oh, huge release. Only 4 times in training. Another one right here. This is chock full of letting go of the bar.
And what she does so well is pushes all these release elements, there's another one right there, to the limit. Very exciting.
Biggest difficulty here is the endurance. Double laid out somersault right here.
Tim, she certainly rises to the challenge, doesn't she?
I tell you, yeah, she is one of the toughest competitors I've come across. Her coach, Cassie Rice, said, yeah, she's under a little more pressure. People are looking at her, but pressure is never been something that has been bad for Tasha.
Yeah, take a look at the height of these skills. When I say she pushes it to the limit, watch how far out she reaches for that bar. She's just, her timing is impeccable. The height, awesome.
Nice knees, nice toes. Huge air.
And she needs a 9.388 to take over first place.
I tell you though, bars, like I said, a very difficult event to bring in the huge score.
And Alexei Nemov of Russia is next, the reigning Olympic all-round champion who's been struggling here in Orlando.
Yeah, you know, he really was not prepared for this meet. He felt like he had to come. He was in the United States and just did not feel like he was up to his level. I mean, this guy has won 12 Olympic medals. Quite often in this young man's career. He has not been at his peak in the off-Olympic years, but I tell you, you can just about bet on it that come 2004, he's going to be in the mix on just about everything.
There's the Schweikert score on the uneven bars, which puts her into first place. And Yovchev's score on the vault was 9.35. And now Courtney Kupets from Gaithersburg, Maryland, on the uneven bars.
Comes from a gym of a long line of Olympic greats: Dominique Dawes, Elise Ray. Coach Kelly Hill said she knew she had something special with this young lady from almost day one.
Yeah, Kelly said she's very methodical. She takes to corrections very well. Technically, she's amazing, and was really excited about the prospects here for this young athlete. Imagine finding out a week ago that you're going to compete in the American Cup. She actually admitted to us she really didn't even know what competition she was going to. Well, she did her job at the verification camp, and that is why she was chosen to come here.
Yeah, she has a bright future. Getting congrats from her coach.
9.1 for Nemeth on his vault. Nemeth with a 9.1 on the vault, so his best apparatus so far. Next up, Eric Lopez of Cuba, who comes into this rotation in fourth place.
And he does the most difficult vault in the competition. We've seen a couple of double twisting Sukaharas. He'll do a 2.5 twist. He is the 2000 American Cup champion, and he has been here 5 times. This guy, he has been around, 3-time Pan American Game all-around champion.
And still going strong.
I tell you, every code of points, he told me, every code of points that he has worked under, each one has gotten a little bit better for his gymnastics. The most recent one came out and he was like, score, hit the lottery, this is for me. Two and a half.
Wow.
Oh, yikes. I mean, that is so hard. Incredibly difficult. It's a blind landing. So much flipping, twisting going on in the air, and those feet go down and they didn't move. That was awesome.
Just amazing cat-like abilities in the air. Like Tim mentioned, a lot happening right here. Look at the height, clean twist, and then he knows exactly where to plant those feet.
Eric Lopez right in the middle of the men's competition. We'll have his score in just a moment. Kupets with 9.362. So Kupets 9.362 in her uneven bar routine, but the women's leader is Tasha Schweikert of the United States. She takes over first place. Back to Orlando in a moment. Welcome back to the Visa American Cup in Orlando. Tasha Schweikert of the United States has taken over, thank you, halfway done, has taken over first place in the women's standings. And there are the standings with U.S. women 1 and 3 at the moment, with Tabitha Yim in 7th place after that disastrous bars routine. And on the men's side, an American has a share of first place. Paul Hamm and Jordan Yovchev are tied for the top spot with Lopez, who got a 9.65 on that vault just before we went to commercial, in 3rd place. And Yemov continues to struggle in this competition. Sean Townsend in 5th place at the moment. Well, this Visa American Cup has a long and distinguished history. But Tim, as I look over the competitors today, I'm just wondering why there are no women from Russia, Romania, or China here.
Well, you know, we got a lot of different stories, but the Russian national championships are taking place right now. Alexei Nemeth, he's in a different category. He can do basically whatever he wants. He's won 12 Olympic medals, as I said. So he can do what he wants. Their star, the Russian star, Horkina, is basically doing a lot of different things now. She's involved with a Broadway-like performance in Moscow. And Arkayev, the head coach, says that they're not prepared. The Romanians say that it just does not fit into their schedule.
And Elfie, so far in the competition, have there been any surprises yet for you?
I don't think there have. I actually thought that with Tasha Schweikert's situation coming into this competition 2 weeks ago, if you asked her, do you feel you can win the American Cup, she probably would have been a little hesitant. But you know, I said earlier, her practices have been getting stronger and stronger all week. She is a showgirl. This woman loves to perform for an audience, and she loves being national champion. She loves to lead this U.S. team, and I'm not surprised that she's leading the competition at this point.
Yeah, she is. She is a competitor. She and her coach both told me coming into this meet, yeah, we're really not in the best of shape, but, you know, it's the American Cup, so let's go.
Well, we are ready to go with Verona van der Loer of the Netherlands on beam.
We talked about the rapid rise of this team and this young athlete. Do you realize at the 2001 World Championships, she was actually third all around going into the top 36 competition. When I asked her what that was like, the experience of being right up there with the best in the world, she said, I'm surprised. I didn't feel that I should be there. Her goal was just to be in the top 10. Her coach, Frank Lauder, also attributes the rise to studying gymnastics. He has visited Deva many times. He has watched many tapes on Russian athletes. He said it's been a matter of trial and error experimentation with these athletes. She's looking just a little bit nervous here. Asked her about coming to the American Cup. She felt that she wasn't quite qualified, believe it or not, to be here because they invite the very best in the world to be at this meet.
I'd say she could get there, though. She has a lot of wonderful qualities. Beautiful Anodi there.
One thing she does have is beautiful line and artistry on the balance beam, and that's something that impresses the judges for sure.
Verona van der Loer of the Netherlands.
And her coach said that the biggest challenge is knowing how much to push with her. He said she's a little bit like a diesel engine, takes a long time to get going, but when she finally does, she can go and go and go.
Very strong exercise. As I said, a little bit tentative at times. Here's her dismount.
Great 2.5 twist. You're going to see a lot of that from the gymnast this time around.
So van der Loer has completed her beam routine. She was in 5th place before that rotation. Alexander Baric was scheduled next on parallel bars. He has scratched. So we'll stay at the beam for Tatyana Yarosh of Ukraine.
Well, Baric did not even compete at the last World Championships in the all-around. He was 3rd in Sydney. He's very accomplished gymnast, obviously. Shoulder problem. His coach, Igor Korobchinsky, just said that he cannot seem to get out of the woods with that injury. It's been lingering. He doesn't need a surgery, but there was no way that he could basically deal with still rings. And if he wasn't going to do rings, he said, I'm not going to do parallel bars either.
There's the score, 9.375 for van der Loer on balance beam. Now Yarosh from Ukraine, this balance beam along with the floor exercise, her favorite routine.
You know, she's been a little bit difficult to figure out in practice, Tom. She was always the first one to be finished her workouts, which is really not typical of an athlete hailing from the Ukraine.
The Ukraine, of course, has some great names in its past. Tatiana Gutsu and Lilia Podkapayeva, both Olympic all-around champions. The program, though, has stumbled a little bit. They were always in the hunt for the medals. They've been a little bit out of it.
Yeah, this team placed 6th at the World Championships last year. This is a new type of element that we're seeing on women's balance beam. It's a hold element. They're sort of going back to some of the more traditional skills that we've seen in years past.
Also, there's a new category. Basically, comes down to you need to show artistic value throughout the exercise.
Again, it's a subjective call for the judges, and it's one that I like because I think it will really help distinguish the very best athletes on both balance beam and floor exercise. She was solid.
Nice dismount, a little bit too long at the end of the beam, kind of prepping for that dismount, but overall good exercise.
And we'll have her score in just a moment. Next up, though, Paul Hamm on parallel bars. Paul with a share of the lead after 4 rotations. Half of the gymnastic twins from Wisconsin, his brother Morgan. Of course, they were the first twin brothers to compete on the same Olympic gymnastics team in Sydney in 2000.
This is a very critical combination right here. Peach with a half turn, right into a giant double back. Ooh, little bit.
Yeah, Tim, that was the section that his coach, Stacy Maloney, said, if he can get through that, I'll be feeling a whole lot better.
That was great, that second combination there, the major release skill. Yeah, Stacy told me, basically, 4 events, the first 4 events, they're no problem. Get to P-bars and high bar. That's where it gets a little bit critical. Nice double pike, kicks out a little bit in the air, just a small hop on the landing. Such an athlete, tremendous competitor. That first difficult combination, it's putting 2 major skills together, an E plus an E, the most difficult in gymnastics. When you combine things of high value together, he gets just a boatload of points for that.
Trying to hang on to a share of the lead. The winner gets $15,000 of the total $70,000 purse, and Jordan Yovchev of Bulgaria is tied with Hamm coming to this rotation.
If I had to handicap at this point as to who has a stronger program on the last 2 events, Yovchev or Hamm, I would say it's basically a toss-up. It's gonna come down to who has the best 2 performances on the last 2 events, the way it should be.
Saw the Yarosh beam score, 8.862. As we go back to the beam for Brazil's Daniele Hipólito.
In talking to Daniele's coach, Georgette Vidor, she was telling me that she's really quite proud of the fact that she has 4 of the top athletes.
Oh, gee.
Isn't that a shame?
It's just so hard, though.
As I was saying, she was mentioning that she has 4 of the top athletes at her facility in Rio de Janeiro, where they have some new Russian coaches that have come into town and have another training center. She said there's a little bit of a war going on right now between the 2 facilities. She basically didn't want her girls to have to leave her facility. She felt she's worked with them for over 10 years now. Why should I?
Ready here for the dismount.
Big tumbling combination, really quite a shame. She has a lot of top skills in this exercise. In fact, one of the highest start values of all the athletes here.
Nem tudo sai perfeito.
Eu sei, vamos lá.
Very aggressive gymnast.
You know, it's important to remember that for many of these international athletes, this is really jump-starting their season for international events. There are many to come after the American Cup.
Paul Hamm score on parallel bars, 9.35. Trying to stay in front. He's tied with Yovchev, who he has yet to perform on the parallel bars. And also still to come on the parallel bars will be Sean Townsend. Last year he was so close to making history. Leading into the final event, Sean's dream of becoming the first American all-round world champion was clearly in sight.
First day, I was having a pretty good meet, and I just went through it like I went through every routine, you know? I just did my thing.
He was hungry, he was ready to go. I mean, he was ready to compete. He was tired of training and doing routines back in the gym, and so with that mindset, I know he's ready to go.
A lot of things are going through my head, you know. I saw the scoreboard, I knew what was going on. I just made a slight error where I came in a little close, and usually I can recover from that easily. If you're a little bit off in this sport, you're off the event. When I fell off that bar, I was just like, no way is this happening. It was just devastating to come so close to your dream and then right there it's gone. It's hard.
It was certainly frustrating and disappointing. He was just one release away from being world champion, and he's going to use it to his benefit in the future.
After seeing his dream slip away as an all-around world champion, Sean's concentration had to turn elsewhere, to the event finals on parallel bars.
I was actually really nervous. I just wanted to stay in my own world, not look at any scores, not look at one person's routine.
It was almost surreal. We saw the 9-7 flash, and I told him, you won.
I got up on that podium, you know, first place, and I got a little teary-eyed up there, and that was it, man. That was awesome for me.
And there is Sean. He will be up next on the parallel bars, where he won that world championship last year. I'm sure you know his story by now. Born 2 months prematurely, weighed only 3 pounds 7 ounces when he was born, raised by his truck driver dad Frost. He used to walk up and down the steps in the house on his hands, so you knew he was going to have some sort of gymnastic skills. A recent homeowner. He has purchased his own home.
Yeah, he says the best part about his home is his pool table downstairs. Just loves it.
And I really didn't think that we would find Sean Townsend going into the 5th event in this position. If I had to have predicted, I would have said he'll be definitely fighting for the title. He was second here last year, just a 10th of a point away from Blaine Wilson.
Well, he got into a hole with the floor exercise today.
Well, it's such a critical tumbling pass and so difficult at the end. But what typically happens is the skill before it, right here, was a little too high. He couldn't get into the floor to create the power that he needed to do 2 flips. I saw it. He did that layout. It was a little too high, and there was no way that was coming around.
8-5 on that floor exercise, which put him in the hole. But now here's his strength, the parallel bars.
You know, Sean said that last year there was no pressure on him, and he feels all kinds of pressure this year to win this event. He said, I have a reputation now.
Great peach basket, little bit of a pause there. It's a wonderfully choreographed routine. It really moves, it keeps going. It's what the judges are looking for. Has a lot of energy and a big dismount. You want to be world champion, you got to know how to do that, that's for sure.
Sean hoping those parallel bars can pull him up from 5th place at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the first half of the fifth rotation. Athens will now advance to their next exercise.
So we'll have Sean Townsend's score when we return to Orlando. The Visa American Cup. Sean Townsend awaits his score on parallel bars. Tasha Schweikert leads the women's standings.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please.
In Orlando, the Visa American Cup continues. Sean Townsend on parallel bars with a 9.6. Before we took that break, 9.6 on the parallel bars for Sean Townsend should move him up from that 5th place position. And next up, Tasha Schweikert on beam. She is the leader after 2 rotations in the women's competition.
And believe me, she loves to be in this position. This is exactly what she's here for. She wants to win the American Cup. You know, it brings a smile to my face to remember just 2 years ago, and Tim, I'm sure it'll do the same for you, when she was just this young athlete, inexperienced, went through the American Cup series, placed 4th at the American Cup, and then found herself on the Olympic team. So much has happened to her world in 2 years.
And they say you got to be in the right place at the right time. That first American Cup qualifier was in Las Vegas. That's where Tasha was from. One of the reasons she got the call, because it was somewhat last-minute replacement.
She was always the replacement athlete and came through.
She's a junior at Centennial High School in Las Vegas, a 4.0 student.
I'm sure she is surprising her coach as well as herself, but can't say enough about her fierce competitiveness. She has been rock solid. She has not even wavered on any element, just her dismount left.
Tasha Schweikert continues to apply the pressure to the women's field.
That's good. All right, a little shaky, but you got through. Good job. Aggressiveness. Face up. That's how we go.
There is the national coordinator, Marta Caroli.
Same thing.
Took over the reins from the last quadrennium from
God, I was thinking. Yeah.
her husband, Bella Caroli, of course.
Made you feel good. Okay, Tash. Good. I like smiling. That's
I was like,
Thanks a lot. That was a good dismount.
I don't know. Oh, one that I don't know about. Okay. Oh my God.
Coach Beth Rybecki.
Thank you.
Next up will be Jordan Yovchev on the parallel bars. Came into this rotation tied with Hom. He needs 9.351 here to pull ahead of Paul Hom.
Tim, he said he was going to do a move for you.
Actually doesn't come until right here. Bends his arms a little bit. Very difficult release element. This is a place where Jordan in the past struggled. Oh God. Wow. That is just a gigantic error.
Not to mention, ouch.
He was debating whether or not he would do that.
In a pike position.
His shoulders leaned straight back, and he is nowhere near rotated enough.
How did he keep from dislocating his shoulder?
Yeah, he one of the strongest athletes in gymnastics. and then he jumps up and does that again. Yeah, that's, yeah,
too much.
Yeah, I do not know how he got back up on the parallel bars. You have 30 seconds once you fall off to get back up again. I don't know how he took a shot like that. Those bars are hard, and he landed. On top of that, he landed right over the uprights, so there's no bend in the bar at all. And that is a huge opportunity for Paul Hahn.
And a courageous routine by Jordan Yovchev from Bulgaria, though he moved to the United States after the Atlanta Games, lives in Norman, Oklahoma.
So he swings down and his shoulders lean back. He doesn't get the height, and if you don't have the height, you don't have time to rotate around. And he's gonna feel that for a long, long time. That's about the worst crash I think I have seen on that element.
And you saw the grimace from Paul Hahn, even though he knew that would leave him alone in first place.
Last year, remember?
Yeah, and when you do that, you have two huge things that can happen. You can obviously get a major bone bruise, and it could come out of joint.
Courtney Kupets is next on beam.
I'd mentioned earlier about
9.525, excuse me, Elfie. Tasha Schweikert's score on beam.
I'd mentioned earlier, Tom, about these verification camps. These athletes have to be part of these training camps in order to get verified for top international meets such as this, the American Cup. And as I mentioned before, Courtney was the best fit of some of the younger athletes that were at this camp. Marta liked what she saw.
There have been some rumblings on the gymnastics floor. Actually, some coaches and different people involved thought that Crystal Urzlak, maybe from the parquet, should have been invited. Or a Holly Weiss or a Carly Patterson. Marta Caroli told me that this young lady, she's a comer, and she needs it more than they do right now.
Well, she was in third place before that beam routine.
She is handling the pressure extremely well. I guess it helps to know that you didn't quite know what event you were coming to begin with.
Yovchev getting that shoulder taped up that he hit on the parallel bars so violently.
Yeah, this is going to be a very low score. He loses bonus points. He had 2 falls off the apparatus.
And we go straight out that doorway over there and go back there. Let the doctor look at it real quick.
And now we'll see Alexei Nemov on parallel bars. Had the best performance yet today on vault, trying to gain a little momentum.
And I got to tell you that the parallel bars have really made it difficult for gymnasts like Nemov. He's a bigger, taller gymnast, and most of the skills we saw from Sean Townsend are the giant type skills where you bring in the biggest bonus skills. But if you're too tall, you couldn't do it. FIG went back to the drawing board this year, and they made a good decision. They decided that they would allow the bars to be raised 5 centimeters. That's 1 notch. Not yet, but at the next World Championships, that should take into effect, and it'll give him and a lot of other athletes more opportunity.
The reigning Olympic all-around champion, do you think He seems to be a little uncertain, but do you think he'll be around for Athens? He would be 28 years old.
I really do. Every time it has been Olympic time for this guy, he looks better than he's ever looked before. It is a punishing sport, though, and he has been landing on his shoulders like that for a lot of years. He still loves the sport, and he's still tremendous at it, but I'm sure at times he dreams about not having to land upside down on those arms one more time.
Kupets sitting with Schweikert. Kupets score on beam, 9.2. And Jordan Yovchev, you saw him with the ice taped on his shoulder after that violent fall on the bars. His score was 7.9. And now on beam from Uzbekistan, 26-year-old Oksana Chushevitna.
She is trying to go for a Guinness World Record, which would be 4 Olympic Games. Started in 1992 with the unified team. Her motivation after that was to represent her country, which is Uzbekistan, in 1996 and 2000. And she would like very much to represent them once more in 2004. Hard to believe she's still here.
She is a mother, has a son at home.
Alishir in name, born in 1999. She's married to Bakadir Kirpanov, an Olympic wrestler. She won the world championship in the vault 10 years apart.
It's unbelievable.
She is just as powerful as she was back then, Tom. It really is remarkable. She is one of the busiest athletes that I have seen. I notice her name on many international events. She's all over the world. It doesn't matter what the event is, she'll go. Showing a whole lot of maturity and ease in her gymnastics.
Oksana needs 9.589 to overtake Tasha Schweikert for first place in the women's side of the competition, and we'll have her score on the beam when we return to the Visa American Cup in Orlando. Tom Hammond, Elfie Schlegel, Tim Daggett, Beth Ruyak in Orlando. Let's catch you up on some scores now. Niemov's parallel bars, 8.75. And Chuchevitna on beam, 8.8. And next up, American Tabitha Yim on the beam. Tabitha had that disastrous bars routine that scored only an 8.15 in 7th place.
Yeah, knowing her personality, she will definitely not be very happy with that score at all. She is aggressive, however, on the balance beam. This is one of the things I like about her style. She attacks. Tabitha said one of the things that she really wanted to accomplish here at the American Cup was to not just do the routines. That wasn't good enough for her. She really wanted to challenge herself to perform them.
Obviously, every time you have a swing of the arms that's not supposed to be there and you're checking your balance.
Oh dear. Oh boy.
Hard to believe she showed none of this in training at all. She was so confident, so secure.
Yeah, this being absolutely one of her better events, typically so aggressive on it, that's surprising.
Where did you hit? My leg. Where? Oh, right here. Did nothing? You're fine? Okay. Wait for it. Okay, Gabby? What happened? You don't know what happened? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All right, we go back to the gym and work more. You know, that's one of those things right now.
This is a front aerial here, and foot hits the beam and just slides right off.
Yikes.
And there obviously no way
to recover. No hope of trying to stay on after that.
I heard her say her leg was fine, but that's hard to believe with the fall she took. Well, next up on parallel bars, Hiroyuki Tomita from Japan.
And I know I say that these athletes are great a lot, but this guy, he's great on parallel bars. He just flies to a handstand right here. Beautiful peach for the half. Comes a release. All of those skills done in combination, very difficult. They really want the athletes not to stop on parallel bars. Just keep a nice clean movement, more like high bar. Ooh. Oh, and that is really the first error that he's had in this exercise, visible error. Should still get a very good score.
Hiroyuki Tomita of Japan. So now we're coming down to the final rotation with the titles still hanging in the balance. Tasha Schweikert trying to hold on the women's side, and the men's side, Paul Hamm and Eric Lopez are in a real battle for the American Cup title. Final rotation begins when we return to Orlando. Final rotation coming up. The ladies warming up now. That's Tasha Schweikert, who leads the women's standings as we come to the final rotation in the Visa American Cup with a total of $70,000 up for grabs. The last routine we saw was Tomita on parallel bars, where he scored a 9.45 just as we went to break. So let's take a look at the standings with one rotation to go. Cuba's Eric Lopez leads Paul Hamm. Lopez, who won the American Cup title in 2000, looking for his second title and one rotation away from that. Sean Townsend is in fourth place, and it looks like it's going to be between Lopez, Hamm, perhaps Tomita in that final rotation. Tasha Schweikert, on the other hand, has the lead on the women's side. In fact, the U.S. ladies are 1-2. Let's listen.
So quicker takeoff with tight flat hips. Don't like take off quick and keep this out.
Getting a bit of advice for her final rotation. Daniele Ippolito of Brazil in sixth place coming to this last rotation, the floor exercise.
And Tom, this is an event where you can expect a big score from Daniele. Remember, she is the silver medalist from the 2001 World Championships. This routine was all about power, 4 very, very difficult tumbling exercises.
Yeah, she can jump, I'll tell you.
So Ippolito awaiting her score, and Paul Hamm at the high bar. By the way, Jordan Yokchev has scratched from the high bar after that injury on parallel bars. And here's Paul Hamm on the high bar.
Make it happen.
His final apparatus, trying to overtake Eric Lopez.
The big thing that he has to make happen, like Stacy Maloney just said, is catch the bar a lot of times. First big release comes right here. Very nice. Now hold on, 4 in a row, right here, laid out. 2 more. Oh. Actually, did not do the last 2 releases.
All right. That's okay. You great job. That's better than coming off.
Eric Lopez watching. He's the leader.
Slip. Who's right like this? Oh, on top. You got your dowel.
So was it enough for Paul Hamm to overtake Lopez? We'll have Paul Hamm score when we return to Orlando. Welcome back to Orlando. Left of your screen there, Paul Hamm. His high bar routine drew a 9.1 as he is in a battle with Eric Lopez of Cuba for the Visa American Cup Championship. Lopez won it in the year 2000. He and Hamm in a tight battle here in the final rotation. Lopez has yet to undertake his high bar routine. On the women's side, however, Tasha Schweikert has opened up some breathing room coming to this final rotation. Tasha Schweikert with the lead. In fact, U.S. gymnasts 1-2 with Kupets in second place. Ippolito's floor exercise we saw a few moments ago scored at 9.075. And Schweikert will be up next on the floor exercise.
That 0.5 of a point, 0.53 actually, that Tasha is leading. That means that this is her American Cup. If she lands on her feet, if she gets through this exercise, she will be the champion. And this is a beautiful exercise. There's her sister Jordan sitting in the stands, also an elite level gymnast, trains alongside her. I asked Tasha what it was like to train with her sister, and she said one word, drama.
That yawn might have been the, the answer.
But this is really a fantastic exercise. It has every component that you look for. She is artistic. She's got tremendous power. But most of all, she loves to perform.
And she actually holds back just a little bit in practice, Tim, because she says she wants to save that little extra for competition.
Both Tasha's parents are craps dealers in Las Vegas. She's about to roll a 7 in Orlando. smile there. She makes the one big mistake.
I was going to say it's written all over her face. Basically needed to land.
You look so loose, you couldn't punch.
Well, and when she took off a little bit going back.
Okay, all right. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, I disagree with Marta there. She just was so juiced that she was way too high.
That was the one tumbling pass that she didn't have any problems with in practice. No problems at all.
Very, very difficult, though. 2.5 times around and just 2 over-rotated, similar to what we saw from Shawn Townsend, and that is a huge deduction. That opens the door for
Courtney Kupets for one in second place.
Yes, definitely.
Now, the body language shows you exactly how Tasha felt about that disastrous floor exercise. Next up will be Shawn Townsend on high bar.
Shawn Townsend.
Shawn really has found a way to put together a bunch of different elements that can be very consistent and still bring in a big score. Here's the release skill. Very nice. Got a couple more elements, but the major part of the exercise is the dismount combination. Very, very difficult. Half Takamoto to a triple back, 3 flips.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, well.
All right. Oh my gosh, so close.
He had this here. Like I said, difficult to do this in combination. Doesn't have the speed of the extra giant swings, but he looked like he had this easy. He just opens up his hands,
Just
come off of his legs too early. And there's no way you can save
That's
that.
embarrassing. To eat a little mat.
It doesn't feel very good either.
More slow.
Well, Tasha Schweikert knows how he feels. 8.775 on her floor exercise. Courtney Kupets has a chance to win the American Cup.
Yeah.
Courtney Kupets, the least likely perhaps of all the entrants, needs 9.307 to take the lead.
She had no idea that this event was even a live event. Everyone's watching her now, and she has a great chance to win this.
And a huge routine, the first pass, unbelievable. First time I've ever seen anybody do it. Difficult and risky, right here.
Wow, did Sarah Hughes come to mind?
Yes, we work hard, we can do it. That's it. That was good.
She showed me the best floor routine you've ever done.
What did I told you, Kelly? Come here. What did I told you? Not this girl can do it, right?
If you're gonna have a coming out party, that's the way to do it.
Right?
Good job.
A lot of people questioned her being here.
Courtney Kupets, was that score enough to put her in first place? Could she improbably hold on to win the whole thing? We'll have her score when we return to the Visa American Cup Gymnastics competition in Orlando, Florida.
You're not a front landing.
Back in Orlando, Tasha Schweikert was the leader coming into this rotation. Did not perform well on floor exercise, 8.775, and then saw her American teammate Courtney Kupets put up a beautiful floor exercise. Kupets needing 9.3 to overtake Schweikert, and her score 9.212. Not good enough. Is there a French judge here in Florida?
I'll tell you, I don't know, Tom.
So Schweikert is the leader, but it's not safe yet.
Elfie, I don't know. I just don't know where they got those deductions.
No, she did everything her coach asked her to do. Her tumbling was magnificent. I mean, she couldn't have done a better floor exercise routine.
That's not right.
I think it was much too low.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
So
this would be a big number for Oksana to achieve. Remember, she's been doing this sport a long, long time.
World champion on floor exercise in 1991.
Yeah.
Oksana Chuchevitna, was it good enough?
Well, it's going to be very difficult. That is a super high number on floor exercise to achieve, but there is no question about it. One of the greatest tumblers, men or women of all time. Right there, you saw it. Incredible, incredible power.
The one area that the judges might not give her is whether she showed sufficient artistry or not. That's something new in this new code of points.
That's what
it's up to 3/10, and if they feel that she didn't show artistry,
they can take it all away, the entire 3/10. So that would mean even if she starts at a 10.0, she's going to lose 3/10. Most likely it's going to be impossible for her to do this here.
She needs a 9.56. We'll have that score in just a moment. And we're awaiting Alexei Nemov on high bar. And here he is, the reigning Olympic champion.
If I had to pick an event that I would like to watch this complete gymnast work, it would be high bar. He makes it look so effortless. He hangs at the bottom better than anybody I've ever seen. It gives him that huge lift off the bar. Does a similar release that we saw from Paul Hamm. Oh, but wow.
Fingertip control.
Now this is, believe it or not, he is just kind of making it up as he goes at this point. He was supposed to do 3 or 4 releases in a row. as Elfie said, caught on his fingertips, couldn't do another one.
Remember, Oksana Chuchuvitna needed 9.56 to overtake Tasha Schweikert for first place. And here's her score. She did not do it. 9.187. So Tasha Schweikert holds on to first place.
That's the most important thing, regardless of the result.
There's one other lady that is mathematically eligible to overtake Schweikert, and that's Vandeleur. She'll be up in a moment or two, but first we will see Tabitha Yim of the United States.
Obviously, Tabitha has not had the competition she had hoped for, but one thing she will challenge herself to do here is perform.
And you'll see why so many people are so high on this young lady. This is beautiful.
Now that was a performance, very complete, a great package of tumbling and artistry.
On high bar, 9.1.
At least she's able to end the competition on a high note.
Good job, you see? Yeah, all right.
Good
That was very
sportsmanship.
nice. Very nice, yes. Exactly.
Good job, honey.
That's what.
Now Eric Lopez of Cuba on the high bar in a tight battle between Paul Hamm and Hiroyuki Tomita for the men's title. Lopez needs 8.876 to take the lead over Hamm, with Tomita still to go.
Obviously, that is well within his reach, but I have to tell you that if there's a place where Eric struggles, it's on high bar. He said it doesn't matter what the rules is. 5 events, I'm going to be fine. But high bar is where things can go wrong for me. And this is very, very on the verge. An interesting exercise, a little bit different. Doesn't have the high-flying release skills. Big step on the landing. The biggest question in this exercise, one of the elements that he did, is whether they call it a touch on the bar, just a scrape on the bar, or if he showed support, then this could be a very low score.
Remember, he only needed an 8.87.
When his legs come in between his arms, it's called an inside stalter element. If they determine that his feet are showing support on the bar, they take away the entire element. It can be a 5/10 deduction. He loses all the bonus. And there was a lot of that going on in the exercise.
He's tossing down.
Like I said, this is not, it's not where he shines. He doesn't fly like this guy, Paul Hamm. He doesn't hang at the bottom like Alexei.
Now Verona van der Leur of the Netherlands, the only woman mathematically that can still catch Tasha Schweikert. As you see, she needs 9.5.
And Tom, she does have a difficult performance planned. Her coach, Frank Lauder, said, you know, people don't expect power from this athlete because of her look. She's very tall, but she's a very quiet and a very elegant performer. And strong. She pushed this exercise right to the end. The difficulty was not only in the tumbling, but also in some of her jump and leap elements. Very difficult exercise there.
She would need a 9.50 to win. Was it enough?
Well, this could actually be close. Whereas Oksana Chusevitna really didn't have the artistic component, she's got both. She can tumble, very interesting and different acrobatic series, and as Elfie said, also very artistic. I'd give her all 3 of those 10s.
We'll have her score momentarily. Meanwhile, let's catch you up on the men's competition. Eric Lopez needing 8.87 to take the lead. And here is his high bar score. He and Paul Hamm are battling for that lead, and the Lopez score, 9.25. That puts him in the lead with Tamita still to go.
That is gonna pretty much do it, though. I think Tamita needs just about a 9.9, and there was a time when that was possible, and he is a master on high bar, but I would say that is out of just about anybody's league with this code of points.
And van der Leur sweating out her score on the floor exercise. Here's Tamita.
Now on high bar for Japan, Hiroyuki Tomita.
Now he's got some beautiful gymnastics in this. He does a high flying release. It's a Kovacs with a full twist, or named after a great gymnast called a Coleman. Comes right here. Little close to the bar, but he deals with it very well. Hiroyuki, very flexible gymnast. You see, no touch of the bar whatsoever. That's the part I was talking about with Eric Lopez. His legs come in, they come out smoothly. I like this guy's gymnastics. He's very elegant. Another inside Stalter element. Really takes his time. Shows gymnastics off. That's what's great about this. Wow. Man, I'll tell you, if I had all the control, I'd say that was enough. It should be enough in a real world that doesn't demand what the current code of points in gymnastics demands. That should be enough, but it's not gonna be.
Which would mean Eric Lopez wins his second American Cup title. And the women's title, well, Vandeleur needed 9.5 on the floor exercise to overtake Tasha Schweikert. And here is Vandeleur's score. 9.387. She doesn't do it. Tasha Schweikert wins the women's competition.
Yeah, you feel confident? Once I get past my endorphin, I know I got the rest. I have it. I mean, yeah. I can't let. How long has she been training it? It's pretty consistent here. 6, 7 routines you made here, or something like that. Yeah, that's a lot. Did she tell you about the mock meet? That's a lot. What? Yeah, I told her. The mock meet was her first meet.
So Tasha Schweikert wins it, although
I know, that's
Courtney
not very
Coupette's in second place. A lot of people will leave here thinking that she should have taken the title.
She needs a push.
Well, just like right before I came because we were going to try to do the 2-inch Posh. We worked on that. Didn't work out. So like a couple days before we came.
All right, and we'll have the men's final standings and all the reaction to today's events when we return to the Visa American Cup in Orlando. And welcome back to Orlando in the Visa American Cup. From Japan, Hiroyuki Tomita needed a 9.9 on the bar to overtake Lopez, and his score 9.325.
Knew he wouldn't do it, but that's too low. That was so great.
It means that Lopez has his second American Cup championship title. And on the women's side, Tasha Schweikert of the U.S. wins, and she's with Beth Ruyak. Beth?
All right, thanks, Tom. The cheer's going up here, but 2 years ago you were a newcomer. You're the champ here. You've won the American Cup, Tasha.
This is really exciting for me. I came in here beginning of season, you know, not really in tip-top shape, but just coming here to hit, and I hit 3 good events. Floor had a little problem on one of my passes, but I stayed in there and I come out good.
Tell me about that moment. You went down on floor. What are you thinking about the entire competition? And then another American, Courtney Kupets, right there.
Right. You know, right after I was like, dang, you know, why did I do that? In workout, I've been having problems on that pass, and you know, my floor, I haven't really been that up on my floor routines and practice and things, but I guess I was far enough ahead to stay up there.
All right, thanks. A month ago, you weren't even walking. Now you're a champion. Congratulations, Tasha, and back to you, Tom.
All right, Beth, with a little questionable scoring by the judges, perhaps, but Tasha, a deserving American Cup champion. We're back to talk to Eric Lopez in a moment. The Visa American Cup, Eric Lopez, the winner on the men's side. Let's go to Beth.
Thanks, Tom. We tried this when you won before, Eric. Now you've won your second American Cup. Can you try some English?
I am very happy.
I am very happy.
Very, very happy.
Okay, that's it, Tom. That's really all he can say, and that's all he needs to say. Bye, Tom.
That is all you need to say.
I saw Eric coming back from the mall the other night. He had 7 VCRs. He won $15,000. I guess he can pay for them.
Paul Hamm finishes second, and Tomita is third in the men's standings as Paul Hamm signs a few autographs, and Tasha Schweikert of the U.S. won the women's title. So for Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, Beth Ruyak, Tom Hammond saying so long from Orlando and the Visa American Cup.